Hello Internet, Mike here. So amongst all the stuff that I do on the internet for Candy, Speed Hunters, your kind of rogue freelance gig, I also run an Instagram page called Mildly Interesting Cars of London. I started that page about 2.5 years ago with my good friends Garland and Dino. On that page we post anything that we come across car related in London. And I've always thought it'd be interesting to kind of take what I do there for Instagram and maybe put it into video format every now and then. So I thought I'll gather some courage to film myself walking about in public, speaking to a camera. I'll bring my 7 into London, park it up, and spend 2 or 3 hours just having a little gander to see what we can find. So let's go. So today is a sunny Saturday in late August, and you join me in Knightsbridge. Now I know this area pretty well. I often come here and park my car up for when I do these walks. It could be for a number of purposes. I could be going into Central to do some shopping, see a friend, go for dinner, or I could be really bored like I am today. I don't know if you can see that. What? It's interesting. Z4 glitch. However, look at this. A 2002 turbo. Guy's trying to find a way to pull over and take a photo.
The sandwich? I looked at my... No.
I actually managed to catch the owner of this car lingering about, but I don't have the balls to ask him some questions on camera. It has an S14 in it from an E30 M3, E36 seats, E30 M3 gearbox, E30 M3 wheels. So it's not much of a 2002 turbo anymore. I know the engine is standard, naturally aspirated. But yeah, also not the original colour either, because they never actually came in yellow. But what a crazy car! You joined me on a super busy Sloane Street. This road is famous in the car world, really, as this is where the bulk of kind of supercar ownership in London gather to kind of show off their cars. This place is famous again for the supercar spotters. The famous names that you've probably heard of throughout the years, like Shmee and whatnot, they made their mark here. This was the original stomping ground about 10 years ago. And despite the council's best efforts to kind of dampen the area and quieten it down a bit, there's still loads of photographers just roaming around trying to catch a glimpse of the latest Porsche hypercar or something along those lines. So, car culture in London is extremely rich in all senses of the word. On one hand, you get the the lucky few who have loads of cash, and to them a car is something of a fashion accessory. And obviously, because it's a capital city, super influential one, everyone and anyone who has some money and wants to be surrounded by this type of stuff comes to London. Hence why we get such a huge influx of supercars, primarily during the summer months. And then on the flip side of the coin, you have the people that, genuinely live in London and they're interested in cars, or have made a lot of money in the past and treated themselves to a fancy model in, say, the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and have just kept it since because it's something, they work their arse off for. And I think that's kind of more the things that myself, Garland and Dino are interested in. 512 BBI, I think, V12, manual gearbox. I know one of these was extremely rare. I can't remember if it's this one or another one. In fact, this is quite cool, so I'll definitely take some photos of it for the Mick Hull Instagram page. Funny how I said that we kind of care about the more old money stuff, yet here I am geeking over a 512, but bear with me. Right, and that's a bit more like it. Look at that, an early Chromie E30 3 Series. Loads of awesome touches around the car. Check out the dealer plates there with the old Cooper Park Lane badging. Very nice. The people who are seeing me do this probably think I'm like fucking weirdo. Crash in front of a car and filming it. The thing with this is though that I've cheated because I knew this lives here. I've done this walk a lot. So let's head back into Central Knightsbridge towards Sloane Street, and then we'll cut into Mayfair and hopefully find some things that I haven't seen yet. A Street Park DB5 just sitting there. I was wrong, it's a DB6. Give me a couple of old BMWs, I'll be able to tell you the differences between them, but with posh stuff like this, it's not really my bag. I can definitely appreciate it though. Absolutely gorgeous thing. This is another car that lives here. Aston Martin Signet, based off of the Toyota IQ. I believe the story behind these is that Aston Martin needed to reach a certain CO2 average across the production range when this thing was released, and they needed this car to bring it down so they can meet the right standards and they could sell them wherever. Interestingly though, they've only made about 150 of these, or less I believe, so pretty rare car. You could get one of these on Underground too, I remember. And then when I first passed my test, they were everywhere, and now they're absolutely nowhere to be seen. Like they've just all vanished. I guess that's the nature of these little EcoBox commuter cars. They're useful for the first 10 years of their life, and then they just get chucked in the bin and replaced with a new one. How's that for a spec? Dark green brand interior. Beautiful car. Although on Arab plates, so it's a bit of a cheat code at this point. Anyway, London's known for a few things, and one of them includes the Mews, which are these tiny little alleyways inside the big city. Let's head in and explain a bit more about them. Mews famously always have these kind of cobbled streets and these slightly small houses with garages built in. So back in the olden days, the idea of a mews was that the people that lived in the big buildings in the surrounding area, let's say the wealthy elite, they would need butlers and maids and nannies and all sorts of artillery, let's say. And this is where those people would live, on site, so nearby and close to the person who's hiring them, and conveniently quiet and tucked away from the hustle and bustle. And check that out, a couple of E65s, long wheelbase, both of them. That's a V12. No badges on that one. Wouldn't be surprised if it also was a 760. Very cool. And then tucked away there is Gallardo Spider, an early one. Those wheels are worth a pretty penny alone. Cool cars. Haven't aged the same way that E38 has, but they definitely have their own charm. So, seeing as Sloane Street has become a little bit less popular, you know, the supercars haven't just vanished, they've gone elsewhere. They're kind of scattered around London. One of my personal hotspots for them is Mount Street, just around the corner from Hyde Park Corner. So I've just walked along Hyde Park now to get ourselves into Mayfair and see what we can find. It's another supercar spot, hotspot there. That little mound on the Dorchester slip road cutting into Mayfair. Speaking of which, usually this place is full of expensive shit, but not this summer, as they're refurbishing. Still beautiful on the inside, still open as usual. we have a general rule of thumb on Mikkel not to share any 129s, just because the SL was arguably the most common classic car in the whole of London. You can just see them everywhere pretty much. So, coming to Mount Street, I think I've kind of overhyped it because now's that awkward period. It's 4 o'clock, it's between lunch and dinner, so people that are here for either of those occasions, well, they're not at the moment. However, convertible Corvette and a few more fancy motors up there. It's pretty cool. A disco with all the off-road gear. So this is another local car that I've seen around before. Absolute beauty, E-Faithful Touring 530i. Again with the original Park Lane dealer plates. I've actually seen the chap who owns this get in and out. Very elderly gentleman dressed super classy. Gonna hazard a guess, he's probably owned it from new. Awesome car, always a pleasure to see, and it's not always here, so he does use it. I've gotten a little carried away and I've managed to walk all the way to Berkeley Square and check this thing out. No idea what it is. Funny little curiosity.
Not stand at the door, I guess. Oh my gosh.
How's that for a bit of marketing? Number plate. Worth a mil or two probably. Anyway, I'd say that just about scratches the surface of what London has to offer. In fact, not even, because we came at a pretty terrible time. If we did earlier at lunchtime, it would have been busier. And again, in about an hour or two, well, when it's dinner time, it'll be even busier and all the slightly fancier things will come out. So, hopefully, next time you see me, I'll have a haircut, because this is getting too much. And I'll come at a slightly better time. But we will return. Anyway, back of the 7 Series. It's time for me to head home. I'll see you guys soon.